I want to welcome everyone to this episode of Faculty Engaged. This time I got a chance to sit down with Kathy Doody from the Department of Exceptional Education. We had an opportunity to talk about the work she does with her students, the many ways that she engages in the community, and a bit about her history and how she got so involved in this amazing area. Well, good morning, Kathy. It's great to see you.
It's good to see you too, Kate. Thank you so much for asking me to join you.
Well, it's really my pleasure. I've missed seeing you over the last, oh my God, year and a half. So it's been a really long time. So it's just great to be talking with you today and to get a chance to share with our campus community and broader some of the work that you do and the amazing ways that you connect with our students and the broader communities. But you actually have an undergraduate degree in English, am I right?
I do. Yes, you've done your homework.
How did you make that transition?
Yeah, so it's a very long and windy story. I'm kind of the poster child for not knowing exactly what you want to do when you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I attended UB and I started out as a communications major. Actually, I wanted to be a sports writer. So I started out really wanting journalism and I loved it. I loved to read. I loved to write. So I graduated with a degree in English way back in the 80s. There wasn't a whole lot I could do, unfortunately. I just really found that maybe I hadn't exactly landed where I wanted to be with that kind of degree. And I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so I thought about teaching because it just seemed like a really logical next step to become an English teacher. And while I was taking courses, I decided I probably should, make myself as marketable as possible. So I also decided to look into certification for preschool and elementary school. So my first job was a long-term sub in kindergarten, and I loved it. I kind of felt like I had found where I was meant to be. I was so happy. And then my husband and I got married and we decided to start our family. So I took a little time off and I have a daughter who is 26. And then my son, Kevin, was born, who's now 24. And Kevin pretty early on showed signs of having some developmental delays. And he was diagnosed at a very young age. So he was just 14 months old when he was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. With that diagnosis, we were able to start on a pathway of getting services and supports and really making him reach his potential. He could really maximize everything, had the capabilities to do. And then I decided I love special ed. I decided that was where I was really meant to be. I saw these teachers literally working miracles with my son. And I just felt like, where has this been my whole life? And if it hadn't been that I had a child needing those services, I would have never imagined that this whole world even existed. As soon as I was able, which was when Kevin was actually 4, I couldn't wait to get back to school, and I came straight to Buff State and I came straight to the exceptional education program. So I started taking graduate classes, doing everything I could during the day to make everything easy for my husband when he came home from work, because the minute he walked through the door, I ran out the door to get to we kind of called it our tag team marriage. And it was just wonderful that he gave me that opportunity for 2.5 years to really focus on something that was so important to me. It's a sacrifice that you make when something's really important to you. And he was able to help me get there, so he sacrificed a lot too. I don't even have enough words to say how important that program was to me. So I knew I wanted to teach, and I couldn't have landed in a better place. And so one of my goals, once I had the platform that I had at Buffalo State, was to change things for the generations of families that came after us. So the families who did have a child with a disability, who were struggling and who were alone, I had been able to help them before, and I always tried to support them, but now I could write grants and I could do community service projects in my classes, and I had colleagues and I had connections and I could network. And so Buffalo State really opened up those doors for me, where I was able then to help people, which is really my goal. I wanted to make life better for families and for kids. And I wanted to do that through training educators to be the best special ed teachers they possibly could be. And I also just wanted to effectuate change in our community and raise awareness and let the community that didn't know about autism know a little bit more about it and understand how fascinating this population is and how they have so much to offer. The events happened because of my students, because I would bring 10 or 12 students with me, and their only job was to play. I just said, encourage language, encourage play, encourage social interactions, and have fun. Talk to their families, introduce yourself, tell them about your background, tell them you want to be a teacher and why you want to be a teacher. And the families that I worked with loved it because they loved seeing how my students engaged with their children and they gained some pointers from it, and that my students were actually interested in them and their lives and wanted to hear about their children. They just felt that families cared. I said, if you're nervous about talking to parents, this is a perfect opportunity to break the ice, because you're not in a classroom, you're not at a parent-teacher conference, you're at a museum or we're at a farm and you're having fun. So this is a perfect way to kind of break that ice.
Yeah, I mean, that is really interesting. I can see how those kind of experiences really help our students grow as teachers as they move through the process. But, it never had occurred to me how important it is to also exercise the ability to work with the parents. So, when I'm thinking about teacher educators, I'm thinking about the amazing teachers that graduate from Buffalo State and go into our classrooms. But there is that other population they have to deal with. So they can't, even though you love 5-year-olds or 10-year-olds, but you have to be able to navigate the parental piece. Right. And when a parent has a child with special needs, I'm sure that puts a really different kind of lens on how the teacher needs to work with that parent. So I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to talk with us and to share a bit about your background and your passion and the amazing work that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I have to say I was really flattered when I received your invitation, surprised and flattered. So thank you for this opportunity. It's always nice to spend time chatting with you. And it was a really nice little surprise to see this invitation. So thank you.